Sanding. Ugh.
Garage time.
Okay, now I was determined this week to do a whole episode without touching the welder. And I was going along just fine, and then I got back here and I discovered 2 more holes. These are for the emblems, and I had done a bunch of modifications to this deck lid to smooth out some of the holes. And I don't think I'm going to be using the emblem, and even if I do, I will drill them again later. So I am going to bust out the welder and fill up these 2 holes. Don't tell anyone I painted my car with a brush. Okay, here's a short description of what I'm doing to the car. If you want more information about the whole block sanding process, click this video right here. But here's the recipe. I scuff the SPI epoxy primer with 80 grit. That's just to take the gloss off. It's been past the 7-day window, so in order to apply filler over the epoxy primer, it needs to be scuffed with 80 grit. Not sanded through, just scuffed. Then I apply the filler, which I'm using the Rage Ultra. I wait for it to harden or pretty hard, about an hour, and then I go over it with 36 grit. And the 36 grit is only to hit the really high spots, like the ridges that are left with the spreader, and just take down the really big stuff. And I don't push hard, I just let the 80 or 36 grit just cruise over the filler and try to get the big stuff down. And then I go over with the 80 grit until I start to see the epoxy primer come through. And I don't play favoritism on any of the high or low spots. I just go back and forth in a crisscross pattern in block sand. Once it starts poking through, then I stop. If there's an area that I can tell hasn't been scratched by the 80 grit, then I put more filler on. I haven't had to put a lot of layers of filler on. There's just one section, actually right here, right behind the driver's door, there is a section that I had to apply some more filler. That section of the car, for whatever reason, is just a little bit low, and I'm trying to get the reflections to be the same across the door and the rear quarter, and that just required it to be elevated a little bit. It's still very, very thin, like eggshell thin. It's not a lot of filler, but it kind of looks like it is right there because I did put it on twice. And so that's the recipe. There's definitely more to come once the filler's done. I will be putting more epoxy primer on top of the filler, and then it goes into high build. That's the recipe. Thank you for following along. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, and watch me get this car finished. Thank you. Okay, this is starting to smooth out really nice, a lot like the other side. If you look really closely, you can see the 80 grit scratches, a couple areas of the epoxy primer showing through, and occasionally I get a little metal showing through, which I try to avoid. But I'm going to be putting more epoxy primer on top anyways. But I did find a problem, and it's down here. It's not really a problem, it's just where I haven't finished. So with the car up high like it is, you know, it's up high on these tire stands, I forgot to weld underneath here. So if you look, there is a little slit right here. This is just something I either was too tired to notice last time, or the car was just too low and I couldn't get underneath there, so I haven't finished welding that. So that's another little welding project for the day, even though I'm not supposed to be welding. Time for the long block anyways. Going with 80 grit here. This thing is like 2 feet long. So on a long panel like this, I think it's just gonna make it even straighter. So here we go. All right, I decided to trim this jack receiver down just a little bit. I'm not going to run the rocker covers that, or whatever those trim pieces are called. And this is already a little bent on the top, just probably from someone using a jack on it. It's kind of distorted it. So I'm going to cut off like 3/8 of an inch. I think it's going to look cleaner and just hide it a little bit. This goes all the way through, so cutting off 3/8 of an inch isn't going to change anything. Plus, no one uses the factory jack anyways. I like this a little better. So if you look at it from this angle, I tried to match the angle there. It's a little bit more concealed, definitely still visible. Overall, I think it looks better. I took probably 3/8 off the top and maybe 1/2 inch off the bottom. Okay, while we're here, here's a close-up of the door. And there's just one little tiny spot poking through, like a really tiny thing. I don't know how there would be a dent from the inside of the door poking outward. Who knows what happened to this door, you know, maybe because these parts are all swap meet parts, it could have happened in the back of a truck or something fell down inside of it when it was being stored. I'm just gonna have to tap that in a little bit. I'll probably have to put something behind there, my lead bag. I'll probably put the lead bag back there and just kind of tap that down a little bit because there's no sense in having that little island with a ton of filler all around it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm really happy with the progress on the sanding. I know it's getting straighter. Unfortunately, it's not all one color anymore. It's kind of that blotchy color, but it's all for the better. It's getting straighter, it's looking better. The gaps are coming together really nice. I'm really, really glad that I spent so much time aligning the panels because it makes block sanding and putting the filler on, getting the whole car straight, a whole lot easier. So I'm really happy with the progress. Hope to get to high build primer in the next few weeks. So wish me luck. Thank you.